Right now, in the world of tech, there is no race more intense, more expensive, or more important than the one to build the world's most powerful artificial intelligence. We're talking billions of dollars being poured into this by the biggest companies on the planet, and the models they're creating, they're changing everything, like right now. So today, we are going to break down exactly where that race stands.
So yeah, this is the big question, isn't it? Who's actually winning? We're going to put the two biggest contenders under the microscope to really understand their strengths, their weaknesses, and, what this crazy competition actually means for the rest of us.
Okay, so in one corner, you've got the model that basically kicked off this entire AI frenzy we're living in. And in the other corner, the challenger from, well, the biggest data company in the world. Let's meet them.
On one side, we have OpenAI's GPT-4. They call it a milestone in scaling up deep learning. Now that's a super techie way of saying they built it using just an unbelievable amount of data and computer power. On the other side is Google DeepMind's Gemini 3, and they're not shy about it, calling it our most intelligent AI model. And you'll notice both are called multimodal, which is key. It just means they can understand way more than just text. We're talking images, audio, video, the whole shebang.
Now look, while we're zeroing in on these two today, we've got to remember this is not just a two-horse race. Not at all. You've got companies like Anthropic building some incredibly powerful models too. The whole field is just white-hot with competition. So with all the hype and all the marketing, how do we actually figure out which one is better? I mean, just chatting with it isn't going to cut it, right? To get a real objective look, the experts have a standardized way of doing things.
And that brings us to this idea of a benchmark. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like an SAT for AIs. It's a whole bunch of tests and problems that are designed to push these things to their absolute limits and give us cold, hard data on how they perform.
And we're not just talking about one test here. It's a gauntlet. I mean, these AIs are being thrown into professional exams for lawyers and doctors. They face insane academic reasoning tests in math and science. Then you've got coding challenges and tests for those multimodal skills we talked about. How well do they really get images and video? And maybe the coolest part, they're being tested on what are called agentic tasks. That's basically seeing if they can act on their own to finish a complicated multi-step job without any hand-holding.
All right, time for the main event. Let's dig into the benchmark results, and we're going to go round by round to see where each of these titans really has the edge.
First up, professional exams. And this is where things get kind of mind-blowing. Look at the bar exam. The older model, GPT 3.5, landed in the bottom 10% of people who took it. GPT-4, it scored in the top 10%. That is an insane jump. And you see the same story with the GRE, going from just above average to the 99th percentile. This isn't just about memorizing facts. It's a monumental leap in handling complex, abstract ideas.
But okay, acing academic exams is one thing. What about actually doing stuff in the real world? Well, in a test called Terminal Bench, which basically makes the AI act like a software engineer, Google's Gemini 3 actually pulls ahead of several GPT models. This shows it has a real knack not just for knowing things, but for applying them to do practical work.
And this isn't just some lab result. This is a quote from a VP at GitHub, the biggest platform for software developers on the planet. He said Gemini 3 showed a 35% jump in accuracy for solving real-world coding problems. When a partner like GitHub says something like that, it's a big deal.
Let's switch it up and look at those multimodal skills. GPT-4 was shown this hilarious image of a giant old-school computer plug being jammed into a tiny iPhone charging port. And it got the joke. It didn't just say, "That's a plug in a phone." It understood the absurdity of it. That points to a much deeper, more nuanced understanding of how the world works.
But Gemini comes back with a different kind of multimodal flex, something way more dynamic. A version of it was used to give a gamer live strategic advice. And get this, it was watching the game video and tracking the player's hand movements on the controller at the very same time to give tips. I mean, that is an incredible amount of data to process in real time.
So, what we've got are two incredibly powerful AIs, each with its own special talents. But, and this is a big but, it is not all perfect. Even these cutting-edge systems have some really important, really critical flaws.
The number one problem is reliability. You've probably heard that AIs can hallucinate, which is just a nice way of saying they confidently make stuff up.
Now, OpenAI has been working hard on this, and GPT-4 is a whole 40% better at sticking to the facts than its predecessor was. That's a huge improvement for sure.
But better is not the same as perfect, not even close. For example, someone asked GPT-4 who Elvis Presley was, and it came back saying he was the son of an actor, which is just not true. It's this kind of subtle, super confident error that's so dangerous. It shows you just can't blindly trust these things yet.
So, as these AIs get better at passing exams and at coding and at understanding what they see, they're still not totally reliable. But all of this crazy fast progress is forcing us to ask a much, much bigger question about what it is we're actually building here.
In a really important research paper, scientists at Microsoft who got an early look at GPT-4 made a pretty startling claim. They said that, given everything it could do, it could reasonably be seen as an early, though incomplete version of an artificial general intelligence, or AGI. We're not just talking about a better chatbot anymore. This is potentially something else entirely.
And that right there leaves us with the ultimate question. This fierce race between Google and OpenAI is obviously making these systems more powerful at an incredible speed. But are they just becoming fancier tools, like a better screwdriver? Or are we actually standing here, right now, witnessing the dawn of a completely new kind of intelligence on this planet? The answer? Well, it's still being written.